So it looked like Caitlin Clark has a huge update.
Caitlin Clark has in fact returned to an extent. She has returned to an extent with the Indiana Fever. Look, Caitlin Clark is far from back.
Fans are going crazy after Caitlin Clark touched the floor once more. She may be seen pulling up from the logo in newly released footage as if nothing had ever happened. All of a sudden, the WNBA is anxious. The video speaks for itself after weeks of mystery, silence, and injury updates that provided us with no information. Clark has returned. In your opinion, should Caitlin start right away or gradually transition from the bench? Please leave your response below.
She is far from being fully back and, everything's all good and we don't need to be worried because, let's be real, we kind of should be worried. Because, again, they're still being secretive about it. But at least this means we have to assume she's back this season.
Okay, so let's get started because that clip almost caused the internet to crash. After reading the Indiana Fever's injury bulletins, which seem like riddles, we all start to roll our eyes. Then all of a sudden, Caitlin Clark is at practice, idly draining logo threes as if she had never left. Ignore press releases. Ignore the poker face of Stephanie White. Forget about the roughly 2-month-long daily tag. Fans genuinely care about evidence like this.
Assume she's back this season. So Caitlin Clark running 5-0 with the backups, which is, again, something that we hadn't seen before. So Caitlin's actually at practice. So this is the first we have heard of, Caitlin actually being at practice. And because Caitlin's at practice, we know at least the goal is and the expectation is that she's going to be back.
This is the point at which the shock occurs. Clark wasn't just firing, though. Shots can be taken by anyone. No, this was not like the others. She was confidently moving, cutting, handling the ball, and coming up from deep with that well-known swagger. This wasn't the time for recovery. This seemed to put me in the mood to play a game right now. Naturally, WNBA Twitter went into overdrive. There are supporters who believe she will return to the starting lineup tomorrow. Some are wary and advise her to ramp back up after coming off the bench. Then there is the camp that believes the Fever are manipulating people by releasing just enough video to inspire optimism while maintaining her position a secret. To be honest, none of these interpretations are absurd. In terms of injuries, this franchise has been functioning as a covert organization. She runs the entire court one day. As of the next update, she isn't really running. We never informed you, but she suddenly tweaked her ankle as well. It's been a circus, really. What matters, though, is this. While running plays and taking logo threes, Caitlin Clark was in full force. I'm not sure what else may be
which is a positive thing for the Indiana Fever because the Indiana Fever don't stand a single chance.
Let's now discuss the implications of this for Indiana. Without Clark, the Fever have been surviving on dental floss. To be competitive, they have been running hardship contracts, duct taping lineups together, and hoping Kelsey Mitchell drops 25 every night. Yes, Lexi Hall recently took a major step, but it was desperate. Then the wounds kept coming. Sydney Colson is out, Sophie Cunningham is out, Arie McDonald is gone, and Chloe BBY is limping. Simply put, it has been survival mode. Therefore, it's not just good news when footage shows Clark getting back on the floor, it's news that saves the season. The Fever are vying for the 7th or 8th seed in the playoffs. That door is rapidly closing without Clark. Alongside her, the view abruptly shifts. This is where things start to become heated. Some people believe she should simply be sidelined for the season due to the Fever. They say to protect the franchise player. Why take the chance? And if that seems admirable, let's face it, it isn't taking place. This isn't January load management. With a playoff berth at stake, this is the final stretch of the season. Caitlin Clark wasn't come here to see her squad limp into oblivion while wearing shabby clothes. She is a rival. She is healthy enough to give the Fever a chance if she is able to shoot logo threes. However, we must not overlook the danger. Injuries to the groin are tough. They don't heal in a predictable way. One incorrect cut, one unexpected explosion, and it might erupt again. This makes the practice video both thrilling and nerve-wracking. Thrilling since it demonstrates advancement. It's nerve-wracking since we're not sure if she's fully committed or only experimenting. The other thing is this. When she comes back, her role might be different. If Stephanie White takes her off the bench to ease her back, don't be surprised. Before you scoff, keep in mind that the Warriors won the championship even though Steph Curry missed time due to a knee injury during the playoffs. Easing in is sometimes the best course of action. For a game or two, Clark might get her rhythm by playing 15 to 20 minutes off the bench without putting too much strain on her body. Naturally, fans will detest it. They will yell for Clark to get started, but in practice, it makes more sense to ramp up gradually. This is the section of the video that viewers may have overlooked. She wasn't merely chuckling threes while standing at the arc. She was moving fluently, playing out of position occasionally, and running with the backups. That indicates that this is more than just a rehab appearance. This is a real return to team drill integration. That is the clearest indication to date that she will play. Let's now discuss timing. The Fever have a few games on the schedule that would actually make sense as possible return destinations. The game versus the Chicago Sky is, quite honestly, ideal. To put it simply, the Sky isn't exactly the world beaters. Clark could put herself to the test in this kind of match without coming up against a top seed. The schedule then gets more competitive with more formidable opponents. Therefore, the Sky game makes the most sense if she is returning. And I'll say it plainly. You can anticipate fireworks if she does come back for that one. She'll want to remind Angel Ree and the others in charge of the storyline about a rookie rivalry that develops into a sophomore one. Caitlin Clark returning, pulling up from the logo, and hustling the Sky crowd would be the fastest way to generate news. Let's now take a moment to reflect since there is more hidden in this video that not everyone noticed. I will disclose it shortly, but fans are speculating that Clark may be farther along than the Fever are revealing, to put it mildly. As we proceed, have it in mind because once you see it, everything changes. Let's get back to the primary topic. Caitlin Clark is the key to the Fever's success this season. In her absence, they are doomed. They're at least risky with her. Clark alters everything, even when his health is at 70%. Defenses line up to protect her, which allows Boston to enter, creates space for Mitchell, and relieves pressure on the role players who have been pushed to perform far too much. No one in this league bends defenses like she does, and her presence is gravity. Consider it. When she's lying on the ground, her opponents stand 30 feet away from the basket. No one else in the Fever lineup is treated with that level of reverence. In Clark's absence, Boston and Mitchell's defenses crumble. It's heaven on earth with her. Boston's work suddenly becomes simpler. Shooters like Lexi Hull receive cleaner looks, and Mitchell has more space to strike. That is the size of her return. Naturally, this development has not pleased everyone. It's important to remember that certain WNBA fans appear to hate everything Clark does. Some of them rejoiced when she was sidelined. They said it was overhyped. The Fever may now concentrate on the true stars. However, as soon as she appears in practice footage, those same detractors are panicking. They anticipate what will happen. Even at 80%, defenses still have a nightmare with Clark. Forget about that, Clark at 100%. Let's now discuss the Fever organization as, to be honest, they have handled this injury in an odd way. For weeks, fans have been kept in the dark. The updates were unclear, inconsistent, or downright perplexing. She is day-to-day one day, and 6 weeks later she is still day-to-day. This isn't how it operates. Fans have been handed riddles when they want clarification. This explains why the video was so shocking. It delivered fans the actual evidence they had been waiting for, avoiding the team's PR spin. This is the worst part. This video wasn't merely Clark is on the move. She was seen grinning. Although it may sound cliché, body language is important. This person didn't appear to be afraid of getting hurt again. This person appeared eager to return to the court. That confidence is enormous. After an injury, athletes frequently hesitate, second-guess themselves, or move cautiously. She resembled Clark. That indicates to me that she is more in tune with game action than anyone is acknowledging. Let us now return to the teaser I mentioned previously. Most people were unaware of the secret feature in the video. Clark wasn't wearing a different colored jersey, if you look closely. She wore the same blue shirt as everyone else. Of the players on the first team. That may seem insignificant, but it's truly enormous. When someone is rehabbing, they are typically working with trainers in the corner or wearing neutral clothing. One thing is obvious when you see Clark in the same gear as the starters. She is authorized to do more than simple drills. That's the closest thing you'll get to a quiet affirmation that she's almost back. And the online response when fans saw the pandemonium in that particular aspect. People were discussing whether the blue hues matched, slowing down videos and zooming in. It became a sort of mini-investigation in which fans dissected the Zapruder movie. However, the conclusion was clear. She is essentially back in the mix if she is clothed with the main group. This raises another major talking point. Transparency, or more accurately, its total absence. Injury updates have been handled by the Fever as carefully as nuclear codes. Only when film surfaces or reporters chance to catch her in practice do fans know anything. Fans lack information, which is why these clips go viral the way they do. This wouldn't have seemed like such a shock if the team had been honest from the beginning. However, that might be the strategy. Perhaps they enjoy the drama. Or perhaps they simply fear making too many promises. In any case, supporters have been worn out. Let's now discuss the consequences for the playoffs. The Fever is currently clinging to the bubble. Without, there's simply another lottery team, Clark. Alongside her, they can now be penciled into that 7th seed. Do they stand a chance of defeating a top seed in the opening round? Most likely not. That's not the purpose, though. The key takeaway is that postseason experience counts. Aaliyah. Clark was in her sophomore season, Boston was in her second year, and Kelsey Mitchell was at the height of her abilities. That is the cornerstone of a group that has the potential to be very influential the next year. It still pays off to get swept in the first round. Remember that the Fever's popularity overshadowing everything else hasn't exactly thrilled the WNBA. Clark's return to the field for the postseason will increase viewership and ticket sales. Sales increase while the Fever remains at the center of the story. For the league, that is a goldmine, but for her detractors, it is a nightmare. Don't fool ourselves. Even though Kathy Angel-Burt presents an unbiased front, they know that Clark is the one attracting attention behind closed doors. Naturally, this also rekindles the controversy around Caitlin Clark that has been brewing ever since she was drafted. While some admirers adore her, others find her intolerable, and yet others simply want her to fail. That fire was doused with gasoline by the practice footage. Fans are excited and have already forecast a postseason run. She's just shooting open threes, say the haters, dismissing it. Big deal. That's the problem with Clark, though. Everything she does turns into a conversation. Point. No other player in the league receives such a response. Her worth is evident from that alone. Let's focus on the basketball side now. There's more to Clark's comeback than just goals. Pace, spacing, and leadership are key. Everyone else falls into their natural roles, the ball glides smoother, and the Fever runs faster while she's out there. Without her, the offense appears to be operating out of a YMCA gym. Mitchell becomes stuck, and Boston is double-teamed. They appear to be a cohesive team once more with her. Additionally, there is the psychological benefit. Her teammates are energized by her. Her confidence is contagious, even when she isn't scoring. At Iowa, fans witnessed it. And in the pros, it is the same. The crowd erupts and her teammates put in more effort when she pulls up from 30 feet and does it flawlessly. Statistics can never fully reflect that intangible influence. Here's the unsettling reality now. Clark is back, but the Fever aren't taking home a championship this year. They are too young, too erratic, and too damaged. However, that does not negate the significance of this comeback. Actually, it's more important, as 2024 isn't the topic of this. Building momentum toward 2025 is the goal. Clark requires playoff experience.